Hello and welcome back to Tuesday Night TerrorVision. This is episode 2. I'm your host, Etep Wakuian. Alongside me, that's Mrs. Co-host to you. It's Trina from, I'm not even going to say it. You go ahead and say it.
From Real Horror.
There it is.
It's
there
great
it is.
to be back with you. And yeah, looking forward to reviewing this movie. This is going to be fun.
Oh, absolutely. I don't advocate this, but because I was pressed for not quite as pressed for time as Trina was when she was trying to watch the movie today.
Yeah, but I had seen it before.
You'd seen it. I had it on in the truck because they have that little thing that mounts up on your dash, and if you turn it sideways, it works for Netflix. So I was on the expressway today, and I'm like, screw it, I'll just leave the movie on because I had to drive, had to do some driving in the afternoon. So yeah, I was like, I got to wrap up the movie as I pulled into my driveway and sat there for the last 20 minutes in my truck and watched it. But yeah, so I enjoyed it, and we'll talk about Little Evil shortly. But I want to introduce our guests for the evening. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by the Grave Reviews crew, Alan and Chris. Welcome, gentlemen.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Appreciate it very much. Really glad to be here. Excited to be here, actually. We've been talking about this all week and been just very, very looking forward to coming in and just sitting down and talking with you guys.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you both here. It's always a pleasure. Like I said, this was a new show for us last week. We kicked off. We had a great episode. It ran way over time, but that's because when you get talking about horror, it's something that you're actually really passionate about. It's really hard to turn that off. It's
absolutely,
the valve is open. So, and with that being said, go ahead and tell the folks. I know you got. We got people watching on X and here on YouTube tonight. So tell the folks a little bit about you guys' channel, your podcast, and what you do.
Chris?
Basically, we are two brothers a couple states away enjoying horror. All bits of it, from the brand new that's coming out in theaters back to, the classics, the Universal monsters. We're fans of it all. We're a bit of cinephiles ourselves. So the connections through other movies that you can find in your favorite horror movies are great too. And yeah, we set out to do like a half-hour, 40-minute show. Usually it runs about an hour and 15 minutes because we get carried away, talking about what we like and what we don't like. And then a big thing is our shit list. It's the sometimes hilarious, intentionally tasteless list. It's not so much where you would rank movies from 1 to 10. It's where we would like to see them as far as watchability. So, if you have a problem with Thing being number 1, that's number 1 regardless of what kind of list we're putting it on. But the rest you might disagree with where we put on this list. There are movies that are ridiculous that are much better than good classic films.
It's funny. We like to say we review what's good, what's bad, what's hot, and what's schlock. That way you'll know whether you want to press play or walk away. Right? That's kind of our saying. We, like he said on our list, I mean, you'll look at our list and I could pull it up and share with you at some point tonight if you'd be interested, but it's literally like The Thing by John Carpenter is number 1. I think Frankenhooker's maybe somewhere around 8, and some of the stuff that's below Frankenhooker, you might just want to shake your head and go, how did that happen? And it's literally, we Chris and I agreed going in, when we put something on the list, it stays there. And the only way it moves is if something else gets rated above it. So it is called the shit list for a reason. Trust me.
Oh yeah, we're only like 18.
Yeah, Chris,
we're under 18 in, and it's getting hard on where we like. We might have screwed up, but we're going to stick with it. So
it's really funny because we'll go, okay, on a scale from 1 to 10. Here's how we rate our movies. 1 is a miserable drag. 10 kind of like, it's a movie that whether you're a horror fan or not, you should watch. 5 hits all the marks, right? It's like, okay, cool. This is a good movie. It did everything I expected it to. And we'll rate these movies and it's like, oh, that's a 9.5. But yet you're going to put it down somewhere around, out of the 18, we put it somewhere around 12 or what have you. And you're looking at what's above it going, I think I may have just screwed this up. But once it hits the list, it stays there. So, and we did that on purpose. just to make it fun.
I like that. You're sticking to your picks. That's when in a world where it's easy to waffle on things,
Yes.
Right, it's there.
Yes.
There. We do reserve a veto here or there because there's not many, but there are some films where Alan will be like, I don't like that one. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't like this movie? So we do reserve a veto somewhere if he puts it up high, and I'm like, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, it's funny because Chris and I have decided that or he has come to find out when I say to him, I have feelings on this, it's generally not a good thing. just saying.
So that phrase, that's the buzzword right there. It's like, oh shit, it's kind of cracks the knuckles, pulls the lawn chair out. All right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Interesting, because we don't talk about our movies through the week we set for watching until we get to the show, and we might exchange like a where are you putting this? But other than that, we do it live and we'll get our reactions. Sometimes he catches me off guard on some things.
I
I
like
don't know
that.
why he says that because it's not true at all.
Right.
That works though, because if you're not discussing them prior to the show, you have that spontaneity factor when you go live and you're in front of the audience, so you can gauge each other's reactions. That's I think Trina and I had that reaction to her when she said Friday the 13th Part 7 was her favorite. I was like, what?
Bold move, Cotton.
I do have a newfound appreciation for that film because it was better initially until the MPAA ruined a lot of the special effects. But no, that is it's better than it gets credit for, and as much as I love it because it was the first one I saw in the theater, it's leaps and bounds better than Jason Takes Vancouver.
I don't know why, but I feel like that's an actual thing.
That's the Axel Braun version of Jason Takes Vancouver.
Little known.
They had a bigger budget.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
Fun fact: the Axel Braun Captain Marvel parody is way better than the actual one with Brie Larson, and the costume design was way better too.
Right.
All I can say is that it wouldn't take much to be better than Brie Larson at all.
No,
I'm a Marvel fan, have been since I was a kid, but man, that was so hard. That was rough.
Annette Bening is not Marvel, but that's another discussion altogether.
Right.
But no, I clown on Jason Takes Manhattan, and I just recently met Kane Hodder at Horror Hound, and I heard this, and I didn't talk to him very much about Friday the 13th. When I walked up to him and I said, I'm a big fan, dude. Obviously, I love Friday the 13th. But I had my son who's 8.5 dressed in his Jason gear. My wife had her Friday the 13th hoodie on. I had my Japanese Jason Takes Manhattan hoodie on. Nice. And he was like, so I was like, man, I got to ask you, was Jason in Pentangle? And he looks at me and I'm like, you got killed by Michael Dudikoff in Avenging Force in 1986. Michael Dudikoff's kind of funny considering he was almost Spider-Man. You turned out to be Jason Voorhees, and your character was in the evil white supremacist Pentangle group in Avenging Force. So is that what happened to Jason? He got kicked off a roof and all of a sudden he comes back, later that year, and he's he gets hit with a lightning and he's is Jason in Pentangle. He goes, how do you remember that?
I'm thinking he's going, excuse me?
Yeah, right? But it was so he started talking to me about
that's great though.
Other like American Ninja. He goes, American Ninja, the Jeep scene. He goes, I got to flip the Jeep over. You can see it going sideways. That white crash helmet, that's me. I was getting dragged behind the Jeep too in another scene of like. So he started talking to me about that kind of stuff. I was like, that's awesome.
That's great.
That's cool. That's really, really cool.
Super cool guy. I met him this year and then Tom Savini last year. And the picture of Tom Savini and I, Trina knows, it looks like he could be my dad. It's eerie. Like if I had hair, it was like we have the same schnoz and everything. It's hilarious.
Wow. All I can say is this.
See, We're- there's
Brother from
there's a
another
lot.
mother.
We got the Telly Savalas connection going on here. It's
Right.
a little Kojak. All I need is a lollipop, my sunglasses. Who loves you, baby?
Right.
No,
loves
nobody. The kids don't get that reference. these
No,
days.
they don't get any.
They don't get
No, they don't,
no
unfortunately.
appreciation for Kojak.
No, none at all.
Awesome.
We're not going to talk about Kojak tonight, I promise, folks. But we're going to start out.
I don't think we're going to talk about this other movie either. We're just going to talk.
I promise. Here it is. We're going to talk about the 2017 Netflix movie, Little Eva. And I had never heard of this movie until Trina suggested it. I am a huge fan of Lost. My channel theme, all the graphics and everything were based around the Dharma Initiative. I'm not gonna lie, I was a mark for that show. I remember when season 1 premiered. This is a stupid side note story. This is what happens to me when I ramble. Is when that premiered, I was fresh on probation and I could not get stoned. So I started sitting back with my sister and just having a few beers and watching Lost. And I was hooked after like one episode really. But the second one, I was like the writer's strike affected it. I know, but I love the lore of the show. And so that's why I did that, was the whole Lost thing. And Evangeline Lilly is in this movie. And my God, was I a fan of Freckles on Lost. I loved Kate, but she made the worst goddamn decisions. She would never listen, and it always bit her in her firm-toned ass.
Never learned.
Never. I will tell you right now, looking at the cast, just if you didn't know anything about this movie and you just looked at the cast, I don't know about you guys, but I would be like, holy shit, this is going to be a fun romp.
Yeah.
Just by who's in it.
True.
Yeah.
First of all, Adam Scott, Evangeline Lilly. And then I looked and it's like Clancy motherfucking Brown is in this. I'm like,
I know. Exactly.
You can't go wrong. And then you have Donald Faison, and
Tyler Levine,
Chris D'Elia, Chris D'Elia. And I don't know the actress's name that played Al, but
Bridget Everett.
Yeah.
Holy shit, was she hilarious in this? Like,
and then you had Sally Field in this, and you had Brad Williams in this. Tyler Levine, as you had mentioned, he is one of my favorite. He's in one of my favorite horror comedies of all time.
Absolutely.
Tucker and Dale is
another
oh my
God
God
film.
Yes. Yeah, that is such a fun movie.
I owned that
every year.
I've owned it for 10 years and I've never seen it.
Dude.
I've never seen
it's a
it.
treat. Oh, it's a treat.
Yeah.
I will.
Alan Tudyk.
Oh my God.
I need to. I'll watch it.
All I can tell you, Etep, is you have to do me a favor. You've got my contact information.
Yeah.
The minute you watch the wood chipper scene, from beginning to end, you have to text me and tell me what you think. Serious.
All right, I'll check it out. I need to watch. I know everybody's like, I can't believe. I was like, it's one of those movies. Like, I bought it and I was like, I'll watch this, and then like I never watched it, and everybody saw it. I was like, holy shit! I was like, I own that movie. And I have not watched it. It's one of those. You're
not alone, because it started with me too. It came out and it was one of those. Oh, I got to watch that. I like Alan Tudyk, and it fell by the wayside for years. And then I was like, oh, let's throw it on. And I was upset that I didn't watch it right away, because this movie, it ranks pretty high on our list, because it's funny. It's just
it is such
great
a
body horror funny.
And it's really funny also because, as I had said earlier, my wife does not care for horror films. She's got a couple that she watches with me. She loves The Lost Boys. She loves Jaws. And she loves Tucker and Dale. Those three I could put on at any given time and she'll be like, okay, cool, I'm in. And They Live by John Carpenter's They Live.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's right, Piper. What can you expect?
I just rewatched The Thing not long ago, and it's like it had been a couple years since I'd seen that. I was like, God, this movie everything about it holds up. Like it's
Yes.
it's John Carpenter.
It's
I mean,
timeless. It's a
yeah.
timeless movie.
I will tell you right now, if you ever want to do a complete walkthrough or breakdown of that movie, Chris or I or both are definitely in, because it is our #1 horror film of all time.
Yeah, it's seriously, and like when it comes to films alone, that movie is it's just damn near perfect.
Yeah, I say that it's probably one of the best movies ever.
Absolutely. I agree with you. The music, which was funny, the music was panned at the time, and then years later, it wound up winning an award because they used it for a different movie, and it was the exact same music.
Right.
It's so funny. But the special effects, the acting, and it's got Kurt and Russell in it. I mean, what else can you ask for? Literally, when the credits went up, it should say Kurt Russell as, and then it should say Kurt Russell's beard as, right? The best between his beard and that, and his mustache and tombstone. He's got the best facial hair of any man on the face of this planet. Yes, I have a man crush on him. I can't help it. It's Kurt.
His facial hair is, and I was rocking like the full-on lumberjack beard until like about 2 weeks ago. I went to the barber shop and I'm like, okay, my dad he looked like the Duck Commander. His was like down to here, so I'm like, he was like, you gotta shave me. I'm like, all right, okay, so I gave him the big nice goatee, and I'm like, well, yours looks better than mine now. I'm like, I'm jealous. I'm going to the barber and getting mine done, so it's like it's my summertime.
I like it
thing, But yeah, Kurt Russell had a tremendous beard in that movie. You know who didn't have a beard was Adam Scott in Little Evil. He did have a little 5 o'clock shadow going though. I love the opening of this movie. Because you don't get that with a lot of modern horror. That whole here's the scene. Here's 1 week earlier. I really enjoyed that. It was kind of it was very like the horror comedy aspect. Really, it never takes you out of it in this movie, and the opening really set the table nicely, I think, for this.
I will tell you, when I first saw the trailer for this, and we see what is his name here, Lucas, for the first time, and he's wearing the schoolboy outfit, the Omen Damien outfit.
Yeah.
I immediately was like, I'm going to love this.
Right.
I am going to love this. That was such a great homage, if you will, to the Omen. That look was fantastic. The haircut, I love the fact, and I'm sorry, do we you have to stop me because I have a tendency to talk. But I love the fact that they didn't allow him to talk through most of this film. It actually played into his character so well because of that.
To the point where when he actually starts talking towards the end, it almost pulls you out a little bit because it's that big change, but it's the character arc, and like it pays off. But it is, it adds to the creep factor, and it adds to that just uneasiness that you have through this beginning. Like something's off. Like, okay, it's stepdad and kid, and he's acting out. I get it, and it plays on that so hard coming into this, where it's great, and you get these little hints where the videographer, where he's calling about, he's like, oh no, you've got to see what happened, and he's like, no, we didn't even have a tripod, completely missing the fact that he's like, no, seriously, you've got to see this video. I love that aspect of
it. You're absolutely right. It was like a masterclass in character building without any dialogue whatsoever. Like it's possible to do, and especially with a child actor, to be able to convey the things in the moments where you did get shots of him. In the way they lit it was really well too, when they showed him and he was talking through the puppet. Was it Mr. Reroy? Was it Mr. Reroy?
Yeah,
Reroy.
I feel like I'm doing like a bad Asian parody. It's Mr. Reroy.
Right.
That shit was I'm one of the Nemodians from fucking Star Wars. Like, oh, we will not survive this. Now there are two. Now there are two of them.
That's so wrong.
Oh yeah, Etep is awesome with voices. He should have been a voice actor. I swear it.
Oh my God.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Trina.
You know, the also the little head nods to all the other horror films that
Yes.
you see through this, you know, with the poltergeist and the TV and
Yes.
and you know, the talking through the toys and all that stuff. I was like, okay, could they have leaned a little more into the humor or leaned a little more into the silliness? Yeah, I think they where they missed the mark just a hair for me was the fact that they kind of took themselves a little too seriously. Is the way I felt about it. But still, when he walked in there and he's like leaning on that TV, right? He's got his hand on that TV screen like that, and all of a sudden that goat head, you know, turns around and goes, "Get out." I was like, yes. There were portions of this that made me just be like, woohoo.
I love that scene was great because let's just talk about that scene for a minute. So the stepdad walks in the room and he doesn't even acknowledge all the dolls like hanging by their necks from the ceiling. Like this is just normal. And this kid is up against this, you know, the static on the TV, which you don't see anymore, which was cool. It was just that without even trying to be funny, that was funny because you know what I mean? Like this, I feel like Eli Craig as a director, he totally gets the balance between comedy and horror. He gets that balance perfectly right. In my opinion.
Right. I think this movie was kind of turned into like it had an edge, but it was dull. So, to the point where it's like it's a good entry level movie to bring, you know, the younger kids in, the PG-13s, even the PG for this, where Tucker and Dale is now you didn't want to keep the kids away from that one. It's everywhere. Where this is kind of more, it's a duller blade that's hitting you with. Where you get those creep factors, but the comedy keeps it rolling to be able to sit with them. Because let me tell you, Bridget does such a great job as Al in this movie.
Yes.
Like
she's
stepdad.
So good.
And you know, like, and it's the manliest of the manly stuff. You know, we've got the monster trucks. We're talking turbo. You know, we're hitting all these marks, and you're like, and it's just the laid back but in your face kind of like that character hits so well.
I have to give Eli credit for this. This is one of those rare occasions where you have the whole transgender type issue without them beating you over the head with it.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, I was because when I was first watching it and they introduced Al's character, I was like, you know what? I'm like, let's see where it goes. And I'm just going to reserve. And I'm like, the more I got into the movie, it wasn't even 20 minutes of, you know, the movie. And I was just like, it doesn't matter because the character's presented in such a way where they're not making a big deal out of it. It's not like I'm this or I'm that, the declarative statement where it's like polarizing to the audience, and it takes you out of the movie and puts you in that this is for the modern audience mindset. And it's just well written, well acted, well executed. There's chemistry between the cast. Adam Scott had a wonderful amount of chemistry with the other actor. So it was fantastic. Like it was like I said, I had that moment where I'm like, what is, you know what, we'll just see how it goes. Doesn't matter.
See how it plays out. And you don't care at all the rest of the movie.
Exactly.
That's what we need. We need the character development and writing to where it doesn't matter what's going on because it's their character is a character, you know, like
exactly.
And it was a perfect character to show up, and just especially the contrast to Adam Scott, his character. That you know, that introverted, you know, afraid to, and you're like, no, you just got to get in there, you know, and you're like, Yeah, you do. So it's I did love it.
Great character. I agree with you guys wholeheartedly on that. And like I said, I you got to give the director on that just kudos because they could have really pulled you out, and they didn't. They allowed you to stay in their space and be a part of it. This is where movies like this are kind of special because that you feel like you're a part of that group when you're watching it as a man, right? Because, and I say it that way, it's kind of weird because we all know men are weird, right? When we watch a movie, we become part of it. That's kind of, that's the reason when people talk to us, we don't hear anything.
Not wrong.
The way our brains are wired, it's just really weird. But we feel like we're part of that group. That we could be, sitting there with Mac and Larry and those guys and having that conversation with them and with Al. Great job for not alienating this 55-year-old guy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Nice.
There's another, and I want to talk about another movie. It's more recent that they kind of dealt with that situation. Was the new Hellraiser with Jamie Clayton playing the Hell Priest, and and I say she's a transgender actor because Jamie Clayton is one of those people you never hear a peep out of. Like I don't remember ever hearing any nonsense on Twitter or anything. Just played the role, and then it's like, well, you can't say they gender swap that character because in the Hellbound Heart, the Hell Priest is an androgynous female leaning character. So Doug Bradley was actually the switch, and I love Doug Bradley, but Jamie Clayton was good in the new one. I didn't really care for it just because I didn't think it was good, but I just
overall,
this situation with the actor here kind of reminded me of that, to where you just like you watch it and it's like it doesn't even matter. There's no bearing on the story with it at all.
None whatsoever. And here's the fun part is a lot of people are online right now throwing such a fit about the new female Silver Surfer that's coming out in the Fantastic Four. There's comic book backing to that. Shut up.
Yeah.
The only issue I could see with that is why Marvel is going with the female one as opposed to the more popular, is it Noran Rad? I believe the name is. I'm not a big comic guy, but I own a lot of the old ones that I went back and bought because it's like, I read some of these as a kid. I want to go back and buy them.
Right.
But there's a reason why they're doing that with that character when it's
I agree with you. So here's my statement on that, and then we can get off the subject because I don't want to step on anyone's toes. We try really hard at Grave Reviews not to talk politics, and that kind of thing, because Chris and I don't have the same political point of view. Yeah. I love Chris like a brother, and he's welcome. So that's just the way things are because we're of the generation where it's okay to disagree on things. Right.
It's true. We find what we have in common, and that's why we're friends.
Exactly. And so here's my statement, and it's a really simple one. I don't care who you have, male, female, black, white, Asian, indifferent. Write a good story.
Right. That's all anybody wants.
Good story. That's all I care about. I don't need your political input. I don't need your sexual input. I don't need to know these things. Write a good story just like this one, and you'll have Al, and everyone's like, I love this character, and no one's going to complain about it. Right.
Right.
A good story. Okay, I'm off my high horse now.
No, I absolutely. You're more than welcome. Like I said, you're here. You're the guest, brother. It doesn't matter. I'm glad to hear that kind of stuff. It's because that's the point of it, is like it's entertainment, and this movie was entertaining literally from start to finish. You look at this, it had an hour and 35-minute runtime, which that's and I talked about this last week. This is the sweet spot, 85 to 95 minutes for a horror movie, or it starts to impose upon itself. There are exceptions, but they are very few and far between.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this one does. We talked about that in a couple of movies that we've seen. Like we talked about like Thanksgiving. If that movie was 5 minutes longer, terrible movie because you made me sit there too long. But it hits that sweet spot. And when you're right, and you're true, it's growing up in the 80s and the VHS ones. That 90-minute mark was the key to success. That you saw the studio execs were hitting, because it was that perfect mark to get in, get out, and wow, it hit all the points, and it's over.
Yep.
I wish it was longer. No, you don't. Not really.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a good example of that, because we love schlocking on our story on our channel, and we went to watch a movie called Killer Sofa. Right. And we never did do a review on it, but we watched it and we're thinking about doing a review on it. And that movie was about 15 minutes too long. I was enjoying the movie till the end and got to the point where I'm like, okay, you have to stop now because you're losing me. And, and I'm hard to lose because I like the silly stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. Right. Is that a trauma movie?
I don't think so, but I will tell you that the one thing, thank you, Tommy. The one thing that I will tell you about that lured me to wanting to watch it, and me telling Chris to watch it, is in the trailer. There's a section where there's someone down on the street, and they look up in the window, and you see it's not really a sofa. It's a recliner, and you know how they have the
lazy boy,
right? Lazy boy, it lifts up so it looks like the buttons are eyes that are looking down. I laughed until I thought I was going to fall over. It was ridiculous. But that one scene in the trailer was like, I have to watch this. But it lost me at the end. It got to the point where you're like, it's too much. As we said, Thanksgiving was not right at an hour and 5 minutes. If it had been an hour and 10 minutes, it would have been too long. This movie at that sweet spot, as you were talking about, Etep, was perfect. If it had gone a minute or two or 5 minutes longer, Trina, you can back me up or not, I think would have been too long.
Yes, I agree.
I was like that watching Velocipaster. I was watching that going like, is this over yet?
You're right. We've done this bit 3 times already.
Just why is he fighting ninjas? Fucking end it.
When we did our review on Zombievers, and then and then we did a follow-up review not too long after that on Swamp Zombies 2. Both of those movies hit the sweet spot just like that. They knew. Here's what I like about this kind of movie, and this is the one thing that I wish that this movie would have done, is they knew they were ridiculous, so they leaned into it. They were leaned into that ridiculousness. That's where I think this movie lacked just a hair, because I think it took itself a little too seriously. But other than that, I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I didn't like it. But that being said, this was my second watch, and I had forgotten that I'd seen it before until I was like 3/4 of the way through it. So that should say something. I don't, good or bad.
Right. And this is where I disagree a little with Alan, only because them leaning into the horror side of it, it was a contrast to that Tucker and Dale where it leaned into the comedy. This leaned into the horror side. And like I said, it gives you I wouldn't say dumbed down horror movie, but it gives you that entry level horror movie to get kids to come in and see and get exposed to those flashes of The Shining with the twins and all of those little bits, to where like I have a 20-year-old now that it's my horror kid, and we'll go back and forth, and it's because it planted those seeds for check this out, or that came from this movie, you should that's the next step up, in fear or whatever we're referencing here. So I like the fact that they leaned a little more into the horror side. There are moments where you're like, okay, I'll go with it. Like the fact that he's not the Antichrist. He's just kind of like the conduit to
the gateway.
Yeah.
Here's my thing though on that, Chris, and it's a tonal thing for me. And again, this is just me. And if you guys want to tell me I'm wrong, I'm fine. I'm okay with that. With you tell me I'm wrong. The reason I said that I feel like they should have leaned a little bit more into the silliness. You had a freaking 4-wheel drive monster
El Camino.
El Camino in this movie that they're all in and jumping over cop cars on. You went a little too, I'm taking this serious in order for that scene to work properly. Does that make sense?
You think so?
I
See,
do.
I felt that it had a good balance there because like they were, well, first of all, I love how they played Led Zeppelin in at that scene, and
that was Rush. I'm sorry.
Rush. I'm sorry,
Yes,
right.
Rush.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how did they get the rights to Led Zeppelin? No one.
Yeah, I was going to say that's unless you're Marvel.
Yeah.
Unless you're Marvel, Thor Ragnarok.
That's true.
That's true.
Lots of money.
Or Disney, right? Shrek.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, same thing.
But yeah, I liked the balance. I feel like it was balanced because they were like doing like that cheerleader speech in the truck, and it was a ridiculous truck. And then also they're like also on a mission at the same time. So I felt like it was 50-50, 50 horror, 50 comedy. I dig the balance in this movie. I really do.
I'm not putting it down, Trina. I really am not. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to play. I do this a lot where I play devil's advocate. Right.
It's all good.
So, yes, Tommy. Thank you.
I liked Evangeline Lilly, the way she played the oblivious mom when obviously she knew the entire, and when she's telling Adam Scott, well, yeah, there was this time I was kind of in a cult and they put this warm red body paint all over me. I'm like,
yeah,
I was like,
I woke up and I was pregnant.
Yeah.
I don't think we talked about that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I would have remembered that.
Yeah. That scene was flipping great.
And it's great.
And what made that scene work was the fact that they did play it straight. Right, that's what made it work. Oh my god, it was so fun.
And she plays this character great through the movie, where she knows something's going on, but it's her son, it's her only son. She's brought men into her life to be a father figure. All of them are dead,
all of them
except for the crazy guy. And she's just where he's even to the point where like she's digging him up because he's buried in the backyard, and he's like, I want a divorce, and she's like, you have to give, and he's just like, what?
She's blaming him. I'm like, is this my ex? Like, I'm literally in a box in the ground. Is this my ex? This is your fault, motherfucker. What?
You're right. What are you talking about? You dug me up. I almost ran out of hair.
I loved her character in this, and I love the fact that she was willing to overlook all the very obvious signs that something was going on just because she loved her son so much.
Yes.
I love
that. She blamed the poor guy for the clown catching on fire. You know?
You can't just hire any clown off the internet.
I can't believe
how dare you do that. You need to owe him an apology. So funny. Oh my god.
And you were talking about nods to other movies, and when they come back from the surviving ex-husband, when he's the self-flagellation there, when they come back, they had the nod. It was a Shaun from the Dead thing when they were grabbing the beers and setting them down the counter. I was like, that's Shaun of the Dead right there. That's going to the setting to the Winchester with the beers on the pie. I was like, I think anyway. I was like, that's what I got from it. I was like, is that a Shaun of the Dead nod?
Like, waiting for it to all blow over.
That was Winchester grabbing ice point. Wait for the soul to blow over.
Which by the way, that whole cut scene there in Shaun of the Dead was actually a tribute to Rambo. So you could say
right,
just right on down the line.
Oh, great! Now Sylvester Stallone's gonna come in and be like, "Oh, I want my royalty using my movie. Rambo, call me doctor.
Somebody get Henry Winkler in here so he can translate."
See what I mean about the voices?
And I did that on camera too, so I'm sure my face looks. I'm like, my eyes are all closed. It's like I can't. So I have to do the voices off camera, or else it just looks retarded. I'm like,
oh no, you're in character,
I love it.
man.
I love it. That's part of what makes it great.
It's like when I do the Macho Man one, and I'm like, I always have to like top my hands on. I'm like fighting over here, doing the Randy Savage and talking about Hulk Hogan getting in between me and Miss Elizabeth. Oh yeah.
I literally. Okay. So off subject. When you did the on your, you have a video on your site of Randy Savage doing the night before Christmas.
Yep.
I sent that link to my son and went, "Oh my God, this is great." He said, like 10 minutes later, he sends it back to me. He's like, "Oh my God, where did you find this?"
Out of the 4 of those I did, and I want to do more, that was the most difficult one to do because I did that. I do them, and usually it takes 2 or 3 takes to do one. And that was one read straight through for 4 minutes. And it was like, by the time I was done, my wife's like, "We're leaving for Christmas vacation." She's like, "Are you fucking done yet?" I'm like, "I'll be up in a minute, Elizabeth. I'm down here dealing with the editing." Yeah.
So my problem is whenever I do him, at some point I lapse into Hulk Hogan. And I throw the brother in, and I'm like, I can't do that. It's not the same.
You got to do the Hogan there. That ain't gonna work for me, brother. I ain't putting him over. I put it. It's upside down. I'll just imagine it. It's on my head right now.
Yes.
Right.
It keeps a Hollywood Hogan bandana by their desk just to say that ain't gonna work for me, brother.
You're prepared, man.
And then you got Vince Russo going, bro, listen, bro, Hogan, you bald-headed son of a bitch, you can kiss my ass, bro. Russo'sBrand.com, bro, where the pros are the pros, bro. Thank you very much, bro. I'll be here all week. Me, Al Snow, Stevie Richards, Jeff Lane on Twitch, bro. All right, I'm done. No more Vince Russo on the host.
That's great, dude.
Dude, you were my new hero.
That was great.
The Vince Russo is the most fun and the easiest one. It's the easiest on my voice, bro. It requires no effort at all, bro.
Bro. Trina,
great.
How do you get through a show with this guy?
I'm actually glad that he's like this because it takes a lot of pressure off me. So
she's glad I'm an idiot and I talk a lot.
Yeah, it makes me look better.
She just said it really nicer. That's all.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I told Chris, I said, Chris, you're going to need to do, the play-by-play on these movies because once I get going, I can't shut up. I said, it helps keep me in check.
Right. Sometimes.
Anyway, where were we? Anyway, we were talking. Were we talking about something?
We were talking about this movie called Little Evil.
Oh, that's right. That's
Evangeline Lilly.
Evangeline Lilly giving Ben from Parks and Rec a massage, bro. She was like, "Let me rub you down, bro. Don't even worry about my kid being the Antichrist. None, my husband's dead, bro. It was a swerve, bro. I got over on him. It's fine. Let me rub you down." And he was like, "Okay." And in came little cock blocking Damien Yeoman, bro. Blew the whole thing, and I didn't get blown, bro.
And you know what he said?
Mama, I need to sleep with you.
I'm bald, and I have hair in the back of my neck standing up.
Yeah, I'll be on the couch.
I'd be at this point, I'd be like, I'll see you guys.
Yeah, there's no way you're staying in that bed after that. What's up, Dr. Coffin Nails? Hey, Chef Nation.
Literally sitting there like with he's got his hand on him, right? And he's in that look.
Yes.
I don't know how you achieved that look, but that was A1 creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, definitely creepy.
I don't. Has that kid ever been in anything else before? Like
Hold on a second here. I'll look him up, you guys, while you guys are talking.
Yeah,
'Cause he's-
nothing before. I think everything was after when I was trying to look him up.
Yeah,
And it
that's
wasn't much.
yeah. And really not a whole lot after that either. Really, nothing to mention.
he was good in the movie, and they give you that like little heartwarming scene where they have at the water park, and he's just he's just tried to murder him, and I love it when he's like, "Yeah, sorry, I tied those sandbags to your arm." He goes, I guess we're even. Yeah, kind of like,
I buried you alive last night. What do you expect?
Hey, the least you could have done was try to drown me. I put you in a fucking box in the yard.
Yeah.
I will
Sorry
say
about
this.
that.
I don't know about the rest of you guys, but my favorite single scene of this movie was when the mom runs out, right? And she's like, "Where's he at?" And the little Damien boy, right? Lucas goes, right? It points at the ground, and that's all he does. I was like, oh, that was so well done. That was because you know the look on his face, and he's got the shovel in one hand, and he's pointing at the ground. I'm like going, damn. That was. Wait a minute. I was like, damn, brother. It was right there.
Yeah, look at him down in. He's down in the box. Down in the box. Down in the hole. Down in the hole, and I don't know if I can be saved. Oh, yeah. Look at my heart, and I bury it like a grave. Oh, yeah.
I fucking love
Macho Man as Langston. Like, this is crazy.
I'm kind of an Alice in Chains fan, so that kind of worked out really well right there.
Yeah.
But and then I mentioned Clancy Brown earlier as the cult leader. Like,
yes,
that he was the best cult leader since dude in Bad Dreams. Remember Bad Dreams, the knockoff Nightmare on Elm Street movie with what was his name? And the guy was like a real whack job. Like the leader of the actor himself was kind of like he was kind of out there. I'm trying to think of what his name was. That movie.
I don't.
Do you know the movie I'm talking about though? Bad Dreams.
It's been a while since I've seen it. Just brought it up.
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, dude burns himself and all the cult followers. And the one girl, Jennifer Rubin, I think her name is.
Yep.
She survives. I remember because I had a crush on her from seeing her other movies. I was like, yeah. But 8-year-old Etep's like, holy hell! Like,
whoa, hey,
yeah. It's like the nurse in Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
She was in The Crush. She was in The Crush. I remember that movie
with Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah.
Yep, and Carrie Elwes.
Oh yeah.
Yep. But
Classic.
yeah, I'm off topic here. But yes, that's what it kind of the cult leader. I was like, this is the best cult leader. No, but he's not Jim Jones. But Clancy Brown is fucking amazing. Like his work is so good. Like the guy's awesome. Like just everything he does.
Everything he does is good. I was trying to explain this. My wife has this thing when it comes to actors where she'll be like, he's the one from such and such. And I'm like, no, because you're wrong.
No.
Let me, it's Clancy Brown. That doesn't sound like a real name. Come on, play along with me. Shawshank Redemption. Nope, you wouldn't know that one. Starship Troopers. Remember the guy that throws the knife and nails him to the board? Oh yeah, Clancy Brown.
He's
in everything. Highlander. That's
Highlander. Enough said. Now, not Highlander 2.
Well, he's in that one too, but
he is. But Highlander, first one, because everything after that sucked. Oh.
Yeah, and him buying this old nunnery. We're making deals where it's like, well, I'll offer you more. Okay, then we've got a deal. Like that's not how. Okay, I guess
that's not how it works.
It's like, how many of these old nunneries are there for sale around? It's like,
I know it wasn't, Chris. But did you when you saw the outside of the nunnery? Did it remind you of anything that we've looked at recently?
No.
I don't know why, because I know it wasn't the same, but in my mind, it reminded me of the church in John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness.
Oh,
Just the look of it just made me go. I literally had to question, is that it or not? And it was not, but it made me think so.
right.
I haven't seen Prince of Darkness or Mouth of Madness. I need to watch those because I know Mouth of Madness is one of the Apocalypse trilogy movies.
So is Prince of Darkness. Yeah.
So is Prince of I haven't seen those two. The Thing, obviously, but I have not seen those two ever. I remember seeing the VHS covers to them as a kid, and it was one of those ones where I was like, I'd see those, and then I was like, "Ooh, basket cases next to it," and I'd get basket case. Oh shit, Ghoulies! It's like this thing's popping out of the toilet. But that's or Puppet Master. It's like, fuck you, Charles Band. I love you.
Right.
It's funny, Etep, because Chris didn't remember this. Do you remember the VHS cover for Frankenhooker?
I don't.
Right underneath the streetlight, there was a button on them. Not all of them, but some of them that were special releases to Blockbuster. And when you clicked it, you heard a voice going, "Want a party? Got some money?"
Oh, that's cool.
On the VH, which is what made me rent it. I was like, I gotta have this.
Damn.
That's awesome.
Want a party? What a great movie. Oh my God, what a movie. Anyway, sorry.
No. Perfectly fine.
It's what comes down to, I mean, and this what you would call like the dust jacket on a movie for Little Evil. It's the same thing. It's those things to grab you, and it hits like if you grew up getting VHS tapes, going to the mom and pop tape stores. We talk about this all the time. That those covers meant everything because it had to grab you.
Yep.
And then you're going to flip it over and you're going to read a little synopsis and check out who's in it, maybe some scenes, and that was either the lock or well, we'll put this over here for now, and we'll go on to the next. Like you said, Ghoulies. Oh wow, like Critters. Critters came out with another one. Like it's those.
I don't know how old everyone else in this room is, but I will tell you right now, for myself personally, Chris and I've talked about this. That walking through the aisles of Blockbuster or your hometown video or just the local mom and pop store, how many movies did you pick up and look at that cover and read and rent it and come back going, oh my God, this is flipping great. That's what formed a lot of my horror years. There was a big Blockbuster out up near me, but there was a little mom and pop store down in Latonia, which is just this little burb. And this guy had shelves upon shelves upon shelves of just horror films that I'd never even heard of before. And man, I would grab 3 or 4 or 5 of those things on a weekend and just veg. Me and a buddy of mine, we'd get a couple large pizzas and spend a night just vegging on these things and saw some real shit. Like The Mutilator that I still love to this day. Never before have I seen an outboard motor kill. Love it.
Thinking out of the box.
Thinking outside that box. Which is why if you ever go to our channel and watch the intro video, the first thing I say is, hey, if you remember walking down those aisles of your video store looking at the cover to figure out that movie to watch for the weekend, you're in the right place because that's what we're all about.
Oh,
that's what we're all about.
I'm like, my son is 8.5, and the regulars on the channel, they've seen him come on the air many times, and he will chop the shit out of me because I was a pro wrestler, so he knows how to throw a chop. And
nice.
he delivers some nasty overhands and backhands and knife edges. But I live in it's a pretty small town. There's like 8,000 people. It's pretty small. And it's like the town where I grew up, and we never had like a Blockbuster. We had Family Video later on. There was one here from 2000 or it turned to Family Video in like, I want to say like 99, 2000. And then it closed down in 2022 or 2021. And I had got, to take my son there, and he got to do that. He got to walk up and down the aisles and look at all the cases.
Oh, that's awesome.
he started renting like picking out the Asylum movies, some of those just on the cases. Now I'm like, oh God, why not? You know, and
why not?
Yeah. So he talks about it still. Well, we passed, you know, it still sits empty. And he's like, on the way to school every day, he's like, I miss going there. I'm like, I know, you know, it's like, this is like generations, like the last generation that got to experience that. And I remember as a kid, the first 2 VHS tapes I ever rented, we got our VCR. It was G.I. Joe, the movie, the animated movie,
nice.
and Ghostbusters.
Yeah, nice.
And I rented it was a DVD copy of the G.I. Joe movie to watch with him, and the Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2 from the video store. I bought them when they were going out of business. I got shelves that are in some of my old videos behind me. You'll see shelves of DVDs. Those were from the family video. That was my backdrop for the better part of a year when I lived in a smaller house and my wife started working from home after COVID. So we had to share my office. So it was like I was either recording in my son's bedroom or when I set these shelves up, I was like, oh shit, this is a beautiful backdrop. So I was using the DVDs as a backdrop for a while. So that is a bygone era that it's a shame. And I really feel like it hurts. And the short attention span generation really hurts the movie going audience as it is. But you have parents like us that have like my son's been watching Friday the 13th and Halloween since he was fucking 3 years old. Like I sat him down and he'd watch The Walking Dead in his fucking little jumper thing when he was like a year old. We're sitting there watching zombie kills. And it's now the only movie that has scared the bejesus out of him and he tapped out quicker than Ken Shamrock against Frank Mir was last week we reviewed Thanksgiving.
All right.
And I didn't realize, I should have known it's an Eli Roth movie, how brutal it was. So I put it on and him and I are sitting there putting together a Lego set. And that opening scene in The Right Mark comes on and head smash, neck cut, arm break. He's like, turn it off, Dad, turn it on. He's like, crying. He's like, I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch it. I'm like, okay, buddy. I paused. I'm like, I'll finish watching this later. I'm like, you have seen Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers kill how many people? You watched Pumpkinhead. You've seen all this. You watched Night of the Creeps. And this is what gets you. I'm like, okay, so no faces of death for you. Okay.
Right.
And here's why I got him. Because it's real.
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah. I was just going to say that. Yeah. In Friday the 13th movies, you can tell it's a movie. This kind of almost crossed that line into too much realism.
I don't know. Jason swinging a girl around in a sleeping bag's pretty realistic to me.
Pretty real to me too.
Look, I'm just saying.
Bloody, though.
No, the thing of it was, I think, Trina, is that how many videos has he seen of the actual, the true stuff that happens on Black Friday?
Yeah.
So now you've got that same thing going on, but now they're showing the visceral images of the glass in the neck and so on and so forth. That's probably why it's too much for him. But I will say this, as silly fun as that movie was, and it was silly fun, the scene where he puts her head in the water and then sticks her to the freezer door made me giggle like a 12-year-old girl. I was giggling. I literally sitting like this with my hands over my mouth, giggling like this, going, because it was funny. It was so fun. Anyway, sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's been two good movies because this one, like I said, I enjoyed this. It was funny. It had the horror aspects. It had a fucking awesome cast. Sounds like dinner time at my house when I was a kid. God damn it, brutal. Again, brutal. I extend my apology. Wait a second. This is what Brutal wanted. He wanted the eclipse to basically like just turn into
finish him. Fatality.
That's what Brutal was looking forward to the other day. He was like, Eclipse, it's going to be the apocalypse. I'm going to be able to smash and grab and smash and stab. Nothing. The worst apocalypse ever again.
Apocalypse ever. Just got dark in like a minute.
You have Brutal on your channel. We have someone on our channel named Greedo the Speedo. I love Greedo. Love him to death, but man, he's out there.
Brutal. He's on a lot of he comes on our wrestling streams and our Saturday nights and stuff like that. Or by his other name, we know him. It's sorry. Didn't mean you were highlighting that. Was it this one you had pulled up? No, you're fine. We had Brutal Morningwood, or his other name, we call him Gentle Evening Penis.
I love it. I love it.
Tommy made that comment. Was it eight? This one right here. Night of the Creeps and Mom and Pop rental stores. That's how I first seen that one. I love that movie. I recorded that off. I have the VHS that my mom recorded that off TV in the 80s. And I got to sit down here on my VCR and watch it with my son.
Nice.
And because I bought a Night of the Creeps hoodie at a Horror Hound in Cincinnati last year. And it's got the red lettering. It says Night of the Creeps on the back. It's got Tom Atkins with the shotgun, and it's got the two teenagers, the boy and the girl, on the sides with the flamethrowers. Oh, nice. And I wear that when I teach school at a Catholic school, and I'll wear that into work when I go in to teach gym. And
nice.
All the kids, it's like I got my every time I got my Jason Voorhees hockey man. I got my hockey mask tattoo on my shoulder when I'm wearing sleeveless shirts. All my horror shit. The kids love it. It's great, especially teaching at Catholic school. It's fun. But yeah, we got to get. It's the horror is. It's. I'm glad I get to pass that on, and you get to show a younger generation these hidden gems like Night of the Creeps, and another one is the Return of the Living Dead series. The first and second one are the only ones that really need to exist. I mean, after that,
the second one's even questionable, but the first one's great.
Look, I agree, Chris.
I saw the second one first. I love that movie. I own a copy of that. I've seen that one 100 times. I watched that over and over as a kid.
Right.
But it's just it's out there and it's fun. And there's horror, but like the first one had more straight horror than the second one did. The second one was pretty much, there was some jump scares and things, but it was more campy than anything else. And I think that's
the first one actually, Chris and I did a review on that one. The first one actually is responsible for the whole brains zombie thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Most zombie tropes you ask somebody today, up until the point of The Walking Dead. But even including The Walking Dead, of the need for specifically brains. And it's such. I'm unapologetic as well. I like the second one. I started with the second one, which made me go to the first one, and seeing Trash Dance was like one of those
moments.
I swear she wasn't wearing any bottoms. And I believed that for like 20 years until it was like, oh no, they had this special thing that they would form. So she's not really naked. You're like, you sure?
And then you watch it and you're like, ooh, she looks like Barbie doll. Thank you, Tommy. Yes, you were absolutely correct. No, I agree with you. The first two were great. The first one, though, is the only reason I said that before is because the first one created. First of all, it was the first zombie movie that had fast-moving zombies, and it's the movie. Which a lot of people, want to say, "Oh no, 28 days later, or 28 whatever later." I'm like, no. You need to watch this movie. And two, they created the whole brains thing, and the fact that the reason that the zombies craved the brains is because that's the only thing that gave them relief from pain, because they felt themselves decaying. Campy as it was, it started a huge portion of the zombie lore that we know today. So very classic, very.
Yeah, and the cast of that movie was freaking.
Wow.
Dude,
chef's kiss.
For a movie like that, I mean, yeah, you had a hell of a cast in there. And we were talking about offbeat movies. What is that? Slime Bolorama with Linnea Quigley. Sorority Girl. What the hell? I'm trying to think of the name of the movie. I watched that. It was like they released like a little like demon out of he was like in a trophy in the bowling alley. I'm like, this is what? But it was such a damn crazy movie.
She has been in a lot of things, and they've all been silly B movies, and
Yes.
I love her for it. I love her for it. As a matter of fact, just something else that I found out fairly recently is that well, look, it's our friend Gap After Dark. He's a member of the Talking Dead also. Thank you for coming over and seeing us, Gap. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we know Gap. He's
Gap's-
awesome.
He's one of my mods here. What up, Gap? Good to see you, brother. Good to
he's
see
in
you.
blue. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah,
It's funny how all
Gap,
the community works, man.
If you don't mind, can I address Gap directly
No.
for just a second? A couple weeks ago on our show, we showed a commercial that I made, and he said, you know, hey, your next one should be about fun bags. He's missed it. Gaps, tune in Thursday night. We have a commercial based on your recommendation of fun bags, and it's funny. Everybody's really liked it. I think you'll like it as well. So
yeah,
be sure.
it's good.
I was gonna say I caught that today. That was funny.
Thank
That
you.
was funny.
Thank you.
I had you guys on.
I love creating those funny commercials. The first one that we did, which was Chester's Barbecue and Crematorium. I actually made a T-shirt for that you can buy that says Chester's Almost Famous Barbecue and Crematorium. I love that shirt. I have to get one of those. I love them. I love them. Anyway, sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. It's Sorority Babes in the Slime Bowl-orama. That's a 1988 one. Yep, that movie. That's one. If you've never seen that, check that out.
Good
that one's
Lena Quigley movie.
Yes.
Linnea. I don't think there's anything bad with Linnea Quigley. Really.
No,
she's
one of the best
awesome.
Scream queens. Like
best. Yep, she is. And you know, we got let's see here. We'll play this real quick, and we'll see you guys in. I threw that together for no particular reason other than to say the anniversary of Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, is approaching here in around 4 days, and that gives me 4 days to wrap up this video I'm doing on the anniversary of that movie, because we're focusing on the 40th anniversary of some of the greatest movies in 1984, and that is... It's my favorite horror franchise, my favorite horror character, and that is one of the best movies in the original 8. The 8 that matter, as I like to say, because I'm not a New Line Cinema Jason fan, because that's the house that Freddy built, and he was never going to get justice over there as far as I was concerned.
I agree.
You know, and we're this summer is 15 years since we've got Jason on the big screen, and the 2009 one. What did you guys think of that one?
I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to step out of the conversation. I gave up on Freddy and Jason, and even Michael. Michael was my favorite growing up. I kind of gave up on them once we got about halfway. Nice. Who knew that William Shatner could be so damn scary? It's funny. I say that all the time. I go, and a friend of mine asked me, he goes, "What do you mean?" I go, I said, "Who knew Captain Kirk could be so scary?" He goes, "What do you mean?" And I told him, he's like, I'm like, look it up. Anyway, I kind of stepped out on a lot of those for a while. I went, and this is not even something I really talked to Chris about, but a lot of things that were really near and dear in my life, horror films, playing music, things along those lines, kind of got put on hold for a long period of time. And I don't want to go into any details on that. My wife is in the chat room now. She understands and she knows why. So there's a lot of things like that I kind of couldn't do because I chose to allow things to get in the way. So that's the reason I say to myself that I don't have that option. I wish I did, but I don't. So that being said, I don't know what we're talking about, so I'll keep my mouth shut.
The reimagining of Jason. Jared Padalecki. I love the guy. I'm a big Supernatural fan with him and Jensen Ackles. I like the guy. It was interesting. Was it a good movie? I don't know. I think it had its entertainment value to it. But I'm an OG Jason kind of guy. Like, right to Manhattan. You have to include Manhattan because
Yep.
it is the movie. Like, it's
Mhm.
him walking through and knocking everybody out of the way through that whole movie is just, it's one of the funniest bits going through. So
And I think that's where I
2009,
stopped.
yeah, it was fun. I don't know, Jason. I don't know. I'm torn on it.
I annihilated that movie when it came out. I remember seeing it in the theater, being like so, because I would see Freddy vs. Jason, and that one I was just like, because I was always more of a Jason Voorhees guy than Freddy Krueger. Like I was, and I was just like, you know, the soundtrack was the best thing about Freddy vs. Jason. It had some cool kill scenes, you know, the visuals were all right. But yeah, the 2009 one, I'm like, the best thing we got was that hot chick dancing in the cabin, which is the intro to our main event topic on our Nitro show on Mondays. Is Bree doing her dance? But no, you had some really cool kill scenes in there. It was like parts 1 through 4, like all smashed in together. It was an amalgamation,
and it was in a weird way that they smashed them together that it didn't quite make sense.
No, it was like Teddy Pendergrass's curl. It never really curled quite right. It just didn't go, no. But I didn't like Leatherface Jason. I'm like, he's digging tunnels and he's, you know, rigging lights and stuff. I'm like, you know, and I look at like Womp Stomp Productions and what they did with Never Hike Alone, Never Hike Alone 2, Never Hike in the Snow. You got Tom Matthews. You got, and I can never remember his name. He was Deputy Rick in part 6. Wherever the red dot goes, you bang.
You bang.
You know, and they got him to come and play the sheriff, and he was fucking phenomenal. Those movies right there were enough for me to be like, Jesus, give the keys to these guys and let them do something on like the big screen. Like, if Sean Cunningham was smart, because he still has the cinematic portion of it, he would be like, hey, here's $2 million, make your magic. You know, and the 2009, the Platinum Dunes thing, they were just, it wasn't there for me. I'm just like, it's something missing. You know, I didn't connect with it as a Friday the 13th fan. But yeah, the 1 through 8, the Paramount years are where Jason lives. And I've been working on a damn Friday the 13th fan film script for like the better part of a year now. Just time is my issue. And it's like, I wrote it so it's ambiguously in the 80s. Like, that's where, if they do anything with this show, you do not, under any circumstances, bring this into the modern era, like that Crystal Lake series. I'm cautiously optimistic about that, the same way I am about Miramax doing a Halloween show. And I was listening to Fandom Empire last night, I think it was, and I really love their Halloween coverage. And they were discussing the TV show, and they said the show could possibly focus on at least a portion of it on Dr. Loomis. And I'm like, I like that. But please don't give us another Malcolm McDowell 2.0 is what they said. And in my head, I'm like, no Rob Zombie shit. I don't want to see anything akin to that. Like, Dr. Loomis is a very difficult character to recast. And
I will say this,
not piss off the fans. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. I will say this. I know that this is not an extremely popular position to have, but I'm not a fan of most Rob Zombie stuff. I think he purposely goes overboard on purpose. Now I will say that I kind of like the first Halloween that he did, just because I liked the insane asylum portion of it. I didn't care to see him as a kid. I didn't care about that. But the when he was in the asylum, I was like, okay, that's kind of a cool thing. I think that if the Friday the 13th TV series goes into the backstory of Mrs. Voorhees.
Mhm.
That would be interesting.
And I think that is going to be a big part of, because they are guaranteed 2 seasons. They have to do 2, or they have to pay a financial penalty. But they said they've got 4. Brian Fuller, the showrunner, which he did the Hannibal series back on NBC years ago.
Yeah.
He said they've got 4 planned, and they can use anything under the sun when it comes to Jason. They have the rights to use everything. And Adrienne King, who played our first final girl, Alice Hardy, is coming back in this. She's the one cast member that's confirmed. And I think, and fingers crossed, and I don't know, I don't have any, I wish I had sources. I don't have any sources.
I have no sources.
It stands to reason that she would play Mrs. Voorhees, given her age and her appearance. She is a fucking shoo-in to play Pamela Voorhees in this. And I would be all in favor of it. She made a big thing on Instagram when when the show was announced and she's coming back. I'm like, that's awesome. Now please let her play Pamela. That would full circle for Adrienne. It would be great. I want to see that. I want to see Pamela's backstory. I don't want to see the dad. I don't need any Elias Voorhees stuff.
No.
Don't touch that. Don't
need it.
That would just be a really good way for them to bring more lore into the Friday the 13th series without being okay. So the continuity with Jason, is there really any continuity with Jason? I mean, think about it.
Well, much better than Halloween.
Well, there's 17 timelines in Halloween.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the fucking multiverse of Myers over there.
It is.
And I think Jason's timeless, so I don't think he counts.
So here's my idea for Halloween, and I'd really love to hear for the chat to see if they agree with me on this. You ready? Halloween 1 and 2 were perfect. They are the same movie, right?
Yeah,
Halloween 1 and 2, they're the same film. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, was supposed to be where Halloween went next, which is every year a new anthology style, different from the original. Now that we've played Michael out to the point of just, I love Michael Myers so much, and they have just killed him and his character, and it makes me want to cry. Right? So let's go back to Halloween 3 and make a new Halloween every year. That's a different Halloween story. How would you, chat room, how would you feel about that? Let's leave Michael alone and move on to a new Halloween story. How would that make you feel? I think that would be awesome.
Draven agrees.
Yeah.
Nice, Draven. Thank you. At least I know that I'm not alone.
Looks like Mark agrees.
Mark, here's the thing, Mark. It would have worked had they told the audience up front, because all these years later, after everyone has made so much fun of that movie, all these years later, we all as horror fans look back at that and go, you know what? I like that movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we do. I've yet to hear anyone say that they don't like it. Now, back then, it was a different story because they were expecting Michael.
Yeah.
Had they been up front in their advertising and said, hey, some way said Michael's not in it, right? It would have been I want one of those. I want a silver shamrock mask so bad I can't stand it.
Oh, that's what me and my wife and my kid are doing for Halloween this year. We're all wearing the silver shamrock masks.
Hey, good for you guys. That's awesome.
I've got a green silver shamrock beanie. My kid's got like the Season of the Witch shirt. He's got the Season of the Witch poster in his room. The movie poster. That is a great movie, and I saw I want to say, as far as Halloween goes, Halloween 4 was the first one I ever saw, and I watched it on Viewer's Choice pay-per-view when it dropped, and that is still, outside of the original, my favorite in the entire series. I unapologetically love part 4.
I do too, but 2 is my favorite.
2's great.
2's my favorite.
It is. That was a great movie.
He lifts that nurse up and her clogs fall off. Yes. I'm like, Oh man, every time it just makes me giggle. I just love it. I love it.
I got the NECA Michael and Loomis 2-pack from Halloween 2.
Oh, nice.
And
Nice.
I showed Trina. That's a nice set. The accessories that they come with, and he comes with a little scalpel and everything. It was pretty cool. It's a really
I have
nice,
that too.
really nice set.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But no,
So
part
I don't
2
know if you ever heard.
Well, I was gonna say part 2 has a lot of awesome kills in it too. There's a lot of great deaths in that.
The I remember as a kid watching this on the movie channel, and that claw hammer scene.
Oh,
it still sticks with me to this day.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you all knew this or not, but it was rumored that the way they were going to continue the Halloween story was that when Michael comes out at the end, which is a great poster if you can lay your hands on it, it's Michael on fire, the room on fire, and Jamie Lee curled up on the ground in front of the food rack, the steel food rack. But that was supposed to be Loomis that was going out, and Michael blew out the back. That's how he survived.
oh.
That was the rumor of how they were going to explain that scene away so that they could continue Michael on at 4. And they decided not to go that route. They decided to just say, he basically came back from the dead. But either way, I was like, that's fucking phenomenal.
Draven has an awesome idea. So I'm going to highlight the first comment. I really wish the last 3 Halloween movies would have tied in with the Season of the Witch stuff. And then he says they could have used it to explain the mask Michael uses as a prototype for the mask in Season of the Witch, and it went wrong.
Right? Hey,
That
Oh my
would have
God.
been,
Draven, you're a genius. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is awesome. You know what I would have loved to have seen, just like a throwback kind of thing, is I would have loved to have seen a kid walk into a drugstore to pick up one of his silver shamrock masks, and there to be an original Captain Kirk mask on the rack next to him.
right.
Yeah.
Like
That
not the Michael mask, but the Captain Kirk mask,
Yeah.
because those of us who love the series would have got it.
Yeah.
And been
Oh, yeah.
like, right?
Yep.
Yep. Because all these years later, those would have made killer T-shirts, right? The mask, plus the other 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many things that they could have and then they really dropped the ball with part 5, which
Oof.
yeah.
It was rough.
That movie where you kill off Ellie Cornell
Mm.
and then replace her with Tina, and no slight to the actress, but the character and the writing for her was it was cringe. The best scenes on there were when they were out at the Tower Farms thing. The best scenes in that whole movie, just the lighting and the way Myers moved, the cops in that with the clown soundtrack. It's like they start that right at the beginning. Oh,
Right.
Maron, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Real quick question. Was 4 or 5? I can't remember off the top of my head, and you guys can straighten me out on this because I've had a pretty tall glass of tequila. Between 4 or 5, was 4 the one where his mask had that pink tint to it, or was that 5?
That was 4.
I think that was 4. Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
4.
that was the only thing that threw me off on it. I loved 4. I thought 4 was fantastic. The storyline, how he came back, how he escaped the morticians and all that stuff, I thought was great. But if you look at it now, if you watch that movie now, you're like, what the hell did they do to that mask? Because I mean, let's face it, as much as I hate the Rob Zombie films, the mask was great. The new films, as much as I dislike those, the first one was okay. The other 2 were the mask looks great.
Yeah, I agree.
And the scene where he comes out of the house on fire was fucking great also.
I eviscerated those movies, but I did it as Cleveland Brown. I reviewed them all as Cleveland Brown. I was like, I hate you, David Gordon Green, and fuck you too, Danny McBride. As a matter of fact, Danny, why don't you go eat? Why don't you remove your rib cage like Merlin Manson and go eastbound and down on yourself, you son of a bitch?
Here's the funny thing is all of those movies All of those movies are similar in the aspect to the movie that we're supposed to be talking about tonight.
Yeah.
They all had great scenes in them.
Yep.
Yeah.
They could tie them together were the shit.
Dude, the police scenes that went back to 78 when they did those throwback scenes in Halloween Kills, I think it was.
Yeah.
I was like, you could have made the entire series like this, and I would have fucking been like, take all my money.
Yeah, let's all watch them all. But no,
I will tell you right now, Halloween Kills had left such a bad taste in my mouth that I never watched Halloween Ends.
Don't
watch
it.
Oh, it is.
Michael Myers is my favorite of the 80s, 70s.
It's well put together,
legit.
like a coil left in the lawn by your dog. Like, it's terrible. It is such. It is. It's fuck.
I'm with you.
It was over, and I was mad.
I'm with you, Alan. Michael Myers is my favorite of the slasher because he was basically my introduction into slasher type horror. So I have that, nostalgia connection to him. But yeah, the Halloween trilogy, I was so mad after the last one. In the car, I was seething. I was like, I can't believe they did this. And I don't know if you want to avoid spoilers or whatever,
I don't care.
I was like, that was such an insult to fans. I can't believe they did that. How can you? Yeah, it was awful. It was traumatic.
It was traumatic. And here's the thing is that, we grew up, Trina, watching this movie. I've seen Halloween 1 more times than I can count, right? I would have to take shoes and socks off and still wouldn't have enough room. And then Halloween 2 to go right along with it. Michael was my gateway into slasher love, right? I mean, and then Halloween 4 came out. And I was so excited. I mean, I had to go see it at the theaters. A matter of fact, I think 5 and 6 I went to see by myself. I mean, I just love Michael. I just do. And when I saw this, I was just like,
yeah.
Literally, I walked out of the theater after the second one and went, I will never watch another Halloween movie as long as I live, as long as Michael Myers is in it. They have ruined a franchise. They've ruined everything because of how inane and how little respect they had for John Carpenter.
It was, yeah.
And that's what it boils down to me. It's how little respect you had for John Carpenter, because yes, there were other slasher movies before Halloween. We all are aware that there's Black Christmas and all these other slasher movies, but John Carpenter is the one who's set in stone. This is what you do. And everyone after that, Friday the 13th, tried to copy it. Everyone tried to copy it. People will tell you, oh no, Nightmare on Elm Street was completely different. No, it wasn't. It was different in its approach, but what it did was the same. It all goes to Halloween. And if you don't agree with that, screw you, you're wrong.
You're
right?
entitled to your
Whether
opinion,
you
and you're
like-
also entitled to be wrong.
Right, exactly. Halloween 1, whether you like it or not, right? And I know some people who I totally respect as horror movie reviewers who hate the movie, the original Halloween, but they're also young. They don't get it. They weren't there for it to be young enough to get them. It would be like saying that The Exorcism of Emily Rose which is a great movie, it has absolutely nothing to do with and should not give any tribute to the original Exorcist or The Omen. Right?
Yeah.
That's what that's basically what these people are trying to say. And I'm like, I'm looking at them and going, you're wrong. I'm telling you right now. And for them to have so little respect for Michael, then to do what they did in that last one, I'm just like, I'm done. I am done. I am absolutely done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm passionate about it because Michael was Michael was one of 3 reasons why I love horror today.
Same.
And so, The Omen, Michael Myers, and Well, I should say 5 reasons. The Thing, but my all-time favorite to this day is still Stephen King's miniseries from way too young to be watching it, Salem's Lot.
Oh yeah.
That scared the shit out of me as a kid. Oh my
Still does to
god.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what put me into the horror genre altogether. Here's the funny thing, you ready? That movie and the Scrooge with the 3 ghosts that came back, you know, what, as a kid, not the original black and white, you know, is my brother like literally like jumped at me like, it's scared the living hell out of me. And that's what put the horror bug into me. Those 2 movies, and then later coming on to The Omen and coming into, you know,
yeah. That new, speaking of Salem's Lot, the new one, it was supposed to get a theatrical release. It's going straight.
Which I wish it would have.
Yep, it's going straight to streaming later this year.
Yeah.
Which I'll check it out.
I'll watch it. It's not doesn't bode well.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of it, you know, like I'm afraid of a lot of things. You know, hold on a second here. Let me look this up real quick.
What's up, Tina Bojan? Good evening, Bad Take Bojan. Welcome. Good to see you, Tina. Channel member Tina Bojan. No,
Hi, Tina. How are you tonight? Appreciate you being here.
I wish they would have never done the Corey Cunningham story in Halloween Ends. That was he's getting beat up, and I made a point in my review. I was like, he's getting beat up and bullied. He's 21 years old by fucking band kids in high school, and then later on in the movie, he can physically best Michael Myers. That's my mask. Like,
yeah.
No.
What?
Wait.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. They fucked Michael.
No.
Yeah, this doesn't no, what the fuck. And that the whole like Allison, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter, she fell in love with him in like 10 seconds. I'm like, you're kind of cute. This is the best you can do. Is this guy like is he really like, is this, and not even just aesthetics, but like this is a weird fucking guy. Like you just dealt with your psychopathic like great uncle trying to attack whatever the fuck he was trying to kill you,
right?
And you're just this is fine. This is fine. It's like the dog in the room that's burning. This is fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. How are you?
It's fine.
So I was just double checking myself to be sure I had this correct. If the vampire Stephen King would have been done by Michael Flanagan, even if it was for a series, I think that would have been perfect. I don't know why, but Flanagan for some reason has an ability to transform Stephen King stories for the film or for TV. If you haven't seen The Fall of House of Usher on Netflix, you need to.
I like that show.
I haven't seen it.
Very well done. Very well done.
Yeah.
It's right along the lines of the Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor. Flanagan, he
Black
hits
Mass.
Black Mass, yeah.
Chris and I are both of the opinion that Flanagan is like the new it guy for horror.
He's the new Carpenter, that he's kind of trailblazing himself out there. And it's you have to give credit to those things, because going back to Little Evil, all of these references through these movies are those moments that took horror and gave it a subgenre, gave it the slasher flick, gave it the poltergeist, the ghost end, the paranormal side of horror. And it's all of those marks. So to see Flanagan's a good example of being able to open up to something new, because we have, all of these greats that there's an homage to them in so many movies because they set these markers. And Little Evil's no different with showing those markers of, it's The Omen, our take on The Omen, and he's got some friends that look like the girls from The Shining, and it's pulling those little spots out there that, it's that reminder of, the amalgamation of everything horror kind of coming together.
That particular scene you're talking about, where they did the clown scene, and at the end, and they swoop over, and you see the two twin girls standing there. I literally was like, I'm watching it by myself, going, "That was great.
Nice
Thank
touch.
you." Doing the golf clap. Thank you. That was awesome.
Our children of the corn running through the cornfield, and they land on each other, and Bridget's on top, and he's like, "There's nothing ever good happens in a cornfield." Well, Field of Dreams was kind of nice.
Yeah, that was such a
line.
good scene.
Yeah, which I would have loved it though if she would have said, Field of Dreams are kind of nice, and he would have turned around and said, "Yeah, but Children of the Corn wasn't." That would have absolutely made me fall out laughing.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh, Children of the Corn. That was a series of movies that never should have went past one.
Yeah,
and
I
even
agree.
Love was okay.
One was it was weird. I grew up we moved to Pennsylvania to help with my uncle who grew acres and acres of corn. So seeing that, I think 8. I think I saw that was, and then coming up here like the next year to take care of acres and acres of corn. It was like, oh shit, Malachi's coming for me too.
Right.
Damn it! I'm gonna have a corn monster chasing me. I know I am.
And I drive through countries, like I drive about 1,200 miles a week in my job, and it's nothing but cornfields. I can't help.
Godzilla.
Nice.
What up, Godzilla?
Nice. You get points for that one.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Points.
Godzillionaire, that is my new favorite response of all time. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That's great.
Mark,
But yeah, I can't
agree
help
with you.
but see a cornfield and say, "He who lives behind the rows." It's just it comes out.
Dude, I live in, it's like outside of the city, like where I grew up in the there's more cows than people, and
Right.
yeah, we had corn in our one of our fields, and then all of our neighbor across the street, it was corn. And yeah, that shit as a kid, that'll fuck with you. That'll fuck with you. And then I remember our senior year, we're playing it was one of my varsity football games, and we go to this school is at Coleman, which we jokingly call the armpit of Michigan.
Nice.
And it's just, there's all these fucking cornfields around their varsity football field. And my buddy, where he plays opposite side tight end for me, and we're in the huddle, and he's like, "Hey, Pete," he goes, "Look at me." I look over, and he's like, "I am he who walks behind the rows." I'm like, "Fuck you."
Say that one more time. He said what?
He says, he did the "I am he who walks behind the rows." And we're just sitting there going, like, Jesus Christ, like neither of us heard the fucking play. I will
walks behind the rows.
Like that?
Yes. And I'm like, I'm never gonna forget this shit as long as I live. It's like we're in the huddle, the quarterback's calling the play, and he's back here fucking making a movie reference to me. It's like,
That's
oh
awesome.
my God.
That's what's funny, that's my high school years completely 100% together. I mean, we're all the time doing shit like that. When it is inappropriate, I'm going to throw a movie quote at you and you're going to probably laugh, or vice versa. If I could real quick, Godzillionaire. First of all, I love the name, love the sign on. If you're a Godzilla fan, I have to tell you my quick review of GXK. Are you ready? It is a bloated CGI fest, monster fight, rinse and repeat. It is a turn off your brain, popcorn popping movie. And I loved every second of it. Every second of it. It was stupid. The plot with the human meant nothing. I couldn't believe they went where they did. There were points where I was literally scratching my head going, why do we need another close-up of your face in slow motion growling? And I loved every second of it. So there you go. Godzilla. I hope they keep making them forever because I can't get enough of them. I've been watching them. I'm 55 years old. I've been watching them since I was 10. I love God freaking Zilla. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but my wife has taken my son because he's a huge Godzilla fan, and he likes the old ones too, the rubber suit, movies. We sat there and on Christmas Eve, we go out with her family. We go sit at this little hole in the wall pub, and I've been the one the last couple of years of DD, and they had on, I can't remember what channel it was on cable, but they were playing a Godzilla marathon Christmas Eve. So we're sitting there and we're drinking our soda, eating our fries, and watching freaking Godzilla movies. So she's taking him to see that this Saturday night. I'm going to be in an indie wrestling show, so I'm not going to be able to go, but she's taking him to see it. So I'll be interested to hear his critique of it.
The theme music for Godzilla, right? Everyone who's a Godzilla fan knows what I'm talking about. You've got that, you've got Jaws, and you've got Star Wars. Those three are probably the most iconic movie soundtracks of all times. As soon as you hear it, you know exactly what's going on. Godzilla's theme is ominous and beautiful. Every time you hear it, it gives me cold chills and it makes me grin like just I can't stop it. When we were watching, my son Stefan and I, who's my eldest son, we were watching this movie, and literally when Godzilla's theme starts, he looks over at me and I'm doing this. I'm going, I'm so excited. Right. Trina, just so you know, Chris knows this, but if I'm ever watching a movie, because I don't want to bother the people around me, if I get really excited, I do this thing. And Stefan laughs at me every single time he looks over at me and just starts cracking up. I'm like, shut up. I can't help it. I don't want to, this is a thing. This is my thing, right? Godzilla's my thing. Shut up. I like Godzilla so much that I like Godzilla versus Megalon. Put it in your hat. I don't care.
Wait, Megalon is basically, wasn't he like the
big cockroach?
Yeah.
The big cockroach that could spit bombs out of his mouth. I loved Megalon. I thought the design was great, and I loved Jaguar. Loved them both.
Yep.
Right.
The only problem I had with that movie is the little kid that's in that movie who kept going on and on and on and on and on and whining the whole time made me develop the name Kenny. Chris knows what I'm talking about. So if you ever hear me talk about this movie had a Kenny in it, then you know you're looking at oh gosh, what was the movie? The Babadook. Do you guys see the Babadook?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, but I know kind of like the plot and some of the characters. I've seen some reviews of it.
The Babadook is a great movie. Trina, you said you did?
Yeah, I love it.
I did too. But what did you think about the kid in that movie?
Oh man.
You want to pick him up. You
just want to shake it, right?
Yeah.
It's that grading. Like, he's a special needs child and stuff, so you understand where it's coming from, but it plays so much into that it's like, okay, I know why mom is just blowing everything off because the way she is, because the kid doesn't have no help. Have you
ever seen a movie that had a kid in it that was so grating that you wanted to turn the movie off?
Yep.
That's a Kenny, right? And that's the kid from Babadook. Right. You have to go into that knowing that this kid's going to be like that, but there's a reason for it. Once you understand there's a reason for it, you're okay. Absolutely. But I was literally like, this is a Kenny. I can't stand it. He's driving me crazy. Make him stop. Anyway, sorry about that.
You want to give him those sandbag water wings that Adam Scott gave Lucas in Little Evil.
Yeah. Right. As he throws out a life, pulls us back in.
When they get wet, they'll fill out.
They'll float better. It's fine. You'll float better. When they get
what have I done?
What they should have given Anakin. What have I done? We need you to channel your inner Hayden Christensen, being awkward, no social skills, Anakin Skywalker. Just say, what have I done, in the most pitiful way possible, if you can, please. If you will, baby, if you will. They say like the American dream, dusty roads, baby. What have I done to the fruit of my loins, daddy?
All right. So I have to share with you my one and only. Are you ready? I guarantee you're better at this than I am, Etep, but are you ready? I'm telling you right now, I live on the biggest house, on the biggest hill. I ride with Rolex wearing. I can't remember the whole line here. Hold on a minute here. I live in the biggest house on the biggest hill. I'm a Rolex wearing, limousine riding. I've got a model on each arm, and if you want to be the best, you've got to be the best. I'm telling you now. Woo!
The limousine riding, wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing, son of a gun. Woo! The
I love it when he goes. I love it when he goes. He goes. He goes. I live on the biggest house, on the biggest hill, which is literally stolen directly from Dusty Rhodes. It's his Dusty Rhodes' exact spiel. I love it. I freaking love Rick.
I
God
have
bless
truly wined and dined with kings and queens, baby. This is my lady, my sweet sapphire. See, don't get it twisted. That fake Mama Rose they show on TV, Sapphire is Dustin and Thody. It's not Cody, it's Thody. Thody Rhodes.
Thody Rhodes.
Thody Rhodes, baby.
Stop. You can't. Oh thank you so much. Yay.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, you are awesome. We appreciate you so much. Be sure to tune in Thursday night. I definitely want you to see that commercial. I think you'll like it because you're the one that created it.
Yeah.
Will Gap, one of our many mods here on the channel, Daddy. He is not the fruit of my loins, but I love him just like he was, baby. Not as much as I love Sapphire, though. Something about those polka dots get Dusty Rhodes all wiggly down in my lower units, baby.
You got him down, man.
have a good. Bro, Dusty Rhodes was just here, bro. It was incredible. You should have heard him, bro. Best booker since me, bro.
That's awesome. All right, we gotta stop.
But, no more wrestling. No more wrestling.
Trina, how do you do it?
She's built up a tolerance to my fucking nonsense and chicanery.
I'm married, so I'm used to this kind of stuff.
There's so many ways I could take that, Trina. I'm almost offended. Almost.
Almost. Not really.
That's just really. Like I told the wife, I was like, yeah, Trina's co-host on Tuesday. She's like, oh, good. Now she can deal with your bullshit instead of me.
So I told you that my wife doesn't like horror at all. But it's funny, she watches the show. And she told me, she goes, yeah, Chris started explaining blah, 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 blah about this movie. She goes, I just turned the volume down and stayed in the chat for a while. I just started laughing. I'm like, okay, I get it.
My parents watch the shows from time to time, and it's hi, Mom and Dad Wakui, and if you guys are watching tonight, because they'll tune in. And my dad's funny. He's a Marine. He's a non-vet, ex-undercover narcotics officer. And
oh my God! Thank you so much for if you're watching, thank you so much for your service.
We used to do Saturday night's main event. We used the graphic from the old WWF and then in the 80s, Saturday night's main event. And he's flipping through YouTube one Saturday night and he sees that thumbnail. Doesn't know it's me. Just sees the thumbnail. He's it looks like some wrestling. So he turns it on. He's like. He goes, oh, I think I'm tuning into an old wrestling show, and here it is, my retarded 43-year-old son and his dumbass fucking friends watching stupid videos and acting like idiots. I was like, did you turn it off? He goes, no, I watched you guys for like an hour and a half.
Yes. That's awesome. Can I share my wrestling story with you?
Absolutely.
All right. So my son was really big in the WCW back in the day. Really big. So I thought to myself, it's his birthday. Monday Nitro's coming to town. This will be a fantastic birthday gift for him. Right. So I buy him tickets and I tell him, hey, for your birthday, I'm going to take you to go see Monday Nitro. We've got floor seats. We're 10 rows off the ring.
Nice.
Right? So he's all excited. Well, I'm on the phone one night. Now, keep in mind, this is back when we still had the phone that was attached to the wall in the kitchen. So okay. So here's the invitation, right? I'm on the phone now. He starts to do what the universal dad, I want your attention. If you have kids as a father, you will understand this, right? They're pulling on your sleeve, right? So I'm on the phone with a close friend of mine. I'm like, hey, buddy, you know, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, Stefan, who's my son, he runs up to me and he grabs my sleeve and he's like, Dad. And I'm like, I'm on the phone, man. Blah, 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 blah. He's like, Dad, it's really important. I'm like, hey, I'm on the phone. Can I wait till I'm done? And I start talking again. He goes, Dad, it's really important. And I went, oh, hey, Chris, hold on just one second. Yeah, buddy, what is it? He goes, we should dress as Roddy Piper when we go to the wrestling. And I went, you know what? That's a great idea. We'll do that. And it literally went against the wall with my forehead. And my buddy goes, what? I went, I just agreed to wear kilts in public. So I get myself and my son a set of kilts. I go out to another friend of mine who's like does all the local fairs and stuff. He's an airbrush artist, and I get a T-shirt made that on the front says Monday Nitro, and on the back it says everyone has to pay the piper. Right?
Nice.
Hot rod, real big letters. Everyone has to pay the piper underneath it. So we're on the floor, 10 rows back from the ring. And my son looks at me and goes, Dad, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay, let's go. So, I mean, keep in mind, he's like little. Right. So we go up and we go to the restroom. I said, hey, if you want to go ahead and get a hot dog and a soda while we're up here. And he's like, yeah, no problem. So I go back down to the floor and the guy behind me pecks me on the shoulder and I turn around and I go, yeah, man, what's going on? He goes, dude, you guys went to the restroom at the wrong time. I said, why? He goes, the camera crew was just down here asking where you went. They were going to put you live. And I missed it. I missed the opportunity. But that being said, everywhere we went, him and, again, Stefan at 9, 10 years old, little boy, maybe even younger than that, and me as an adult, and we're wearing our kilts, we're wearing our shirt, blah, blah, blah. People would stop us and go, dude, can I take your picture? You guys look great, best dad award ever, blah, 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 blah. So I will tell you to this day, as much as I hated wearing kilts in public at that point in time, looking back on it, I am so proud that I didn't back out of that, because it made a memory for my son that he will never forget. To this day, he still comes to me and goes, God, we had such a great time at that show.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
He's 30.
That's awesome.
So,
dude, it's those experiences as a kid, like you're able to give your kids. Like I remember my first wrestling show, and I was a huge Southern wrestling fan, the Mid-South stuff, and then Crockett Promotions in the 80s.
yes,
I lived for that. I was trained initially by Ricky Morton's nephew Shane from the Rock and Roll Express. Ricky Morton, yeah, his nephew Shane trained me, and then the guy that finished my training was trained directly by Lance Storm, which was really fucking cool. And I've gotten to meet some really cool individuals in the wrestling business that were on a mainstream level. Like, and then some of them that I met, it was like, I used to look up to him and it's like, man, you're a fucking piece of shit. Trying to buy weed from me in a parking lot in Saginaw, Michigan after an indie show. Fuck you, Sabu. There was a night, and I've told this story before, but I was the commissioner. It was the UWA, Universal Wrestling Alliance. I was like the commissioner. We'd bring Sabu in every month, and one month we had to bail him out of jail because he got arrested for driving on a suspended license on the way to the show. So there goes the rest of our fucking paydays, boys.
Right.
But I was the commissioner, and the promoter's like, all right, we're going to come out. You're going to introduce Sabu. You're going to tell him you can't use the tables tonight, and then he's going to put you through a table. And I'm like, fuck you. He's not putting me through a fucking table. You won't let me do shit unless it's me taking bumps, and I'm like trained enough to do shit and get it over and sell it. So I'm like, I'm not taking this bump. The guy that ended up taking the bump for me was in TNA as Ranjan Singh. I'll still know him as Mad Dragon. Little Indian guy named Yus. Super cool guy. Sabu goes and put it through table. Table doesn't fucking break.
Oh,
and I'm just like, I'm outside the ring, and I'm like, oh God, that could have been me.
right.
You know, he gets up, hits him a couple times, goes up top, hits him again. Fucking table doesn't break. Gets down, gets pissed off, and just flips him over on the table. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, that right there is why I'm glad I didn't take that fucking bump.
No doubt.
Right?
Jesus, dude. But yeah, he was such a shitbag in the locker room. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't stand him. It just, we're outside. There's like 5-6 of us standing around the parking lot, and we're out there. We're burning down after the show, having a few beers, bullshitting. And he comes up and just walks into the circle. And like, he's a name, we'll, let him do his thing. And he's sitting there. He's like, this good. This yours? I'm like, yeah. He goes, sell me some. I'm like, I don't sell weed, bro. He goes, oh, you can hook me up. I'm like, no, I can't, bro. I'm like, what you have left in your hand there? That's yours, bud. I'm out. Peace. And just walked away. I was like, it was kind of sad. Everybody just walks away one by one, and Sabu's there. But like meeting Rhino, on the other hand, Rhino was fucking great, dude. Like he was the one. It's like he didn't want to talk about himself at all. It's like, what do you do? How many shows a month do you work? Where do you want to go? Where do you see? It's like one of those guys, it's just super fucking cool. Like him and Matt Stryker were two of the coolest guys I ever got to meet and like work shows with. But yeah, I spent 10 years doing it and I miss it. But at this age, like the show I'm going to Saturday, if I told the promoter, hey, I'm bringing my gear bag, I want a spot, he'd be like, all right, what do you want to do? It's you just book it and tell me the finish, And I'm like, I jokingly told my wife that I'm like, hey, when we go to that show, because one of my buddies is coming into town, I'm taking him to the show with me. I haven't been to a show in 7 years since I retired. And I was like, I'm gonna work a match. She goes, good. You can go live with your parents after that. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm retired, honey. I'm just kidding. I'm retired.
Right.
We're fine. But no, thank you guys for coming on. I know we went a little bit longer than we plan on, but you know what? This show it happens this way, and it's always a blast getting here. So I want to thank Alan and Chris for coming on. First of all, thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Dude, you guys are welcome back anytime. Seriously, I would love to do more of this with you guys. Definitely.
I definitely enjoyed talking hard. Definitely enjoyed listening to all the voices, dude. You got some talent there, man.
So just so you are all painfully aware, about halfway through the show, not even a little over halfway through the show tonight, my wife says, "Here, you need more alcohol," and it just brought a break. I'm like, great, thank you, babe.
She's a wonderful woman.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like a great wife.
Yeah.
She is. Oh gosh, I could blather on for another half hour about how much I don't deserve her, but yes, thank you.
I do the same with mine, and she'd be like, "You're absolutely right." She's like, don't let me stop you. And my wife was like, bro, just keep going, bro. All the praise you're heaping on me, you moron. Go ahead and bury yourself, bro.
She's doing this. She's going, oh, stop.
The answer's still no, bro. Damn it.
If I could, if you don't mind, LG, you're in the chat room tonight. If you could please pull up our information as far as our contact information so that everyone could know where to find us, I'd appreciate that.
bio.link/graverev, and you can find all of our links to all the socials, including our merch and our YouTube channels. Yeah,
there we go. Right there you go. It is
in
the description to the video, folks. You can go subscribe right there and follow them on all the socials, every platform. Grave Reviews. Alan and Chris are on. Again, thank you, gentlemen. Thursday nights, the live show. Thursday nights. Thursdays, it's a packed lineup on Thursdays. A lot of big streams go on Thursday nights, folks. And here's one right here. If you're into the horror, go on over and subscribe to Grave Reviews, and don't forget to subscribe to my amazing co-host Trina, who tolerates me.
Absolutely.
for some reason. I don't know, but she does.
If I can take just about 30 seconds before the sign off, I just want to let you guys know. Thank you again, Etep, for having us on. Trina, we appreciate you so much. That being said, we're on. I'll find that in the bio link that he put up. But Trina has reached out to us through our channel. She's been in our guest room for the last couple of weeks. So Trina is now a member of the Talking Dead. That being said, we really do enjoy interacting with people. So please stop by and see us. We'd appreciate it very much. Let people know about us. We'd appreciate that very much. And we will definitely be sharing also this channel's information as well. Thursday night, we'll definitely be sure to mention you guys as well. We don't have a lot of followers, but our followers are definitely devoted. And so, as we like to say, in the vein of the movie Freaks, if you guys will remember with that, Gabo, we accept you. You are one of us. Thank you for everything. Thanks for having us so much. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah, it's been a blast with you guys. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys could make it on. Great conversation. Yeah, thank you guys so much.
And we were dead serious. If you guys want to do a thing, remember us, because I'm telling you right now, this guy right here and myself, we love that movie, and we have a lot of behind the scenes information to share, and it would be a good time.
Awesome.
I'm absolutely down for that. Absolutely. Yeah. And I have Thursday nights off, so I'll go over, because I usually old man Etep now. It's not like it was 5 years ago doing this where I'm streaming 5 nights a week. No, the old man takes Thursday nights off unless I'm over on that really small channel that nobody's heard of, world-class bullshitters over there. I'm the 5th bullshitter. I'm their pinch hitter when one of the guys needs a night off. So that's usually the only time, or if I jump on Tommy and Vinny's Toy Streamer. If I'm a guest on CJP's, one of my other co-hosts for Monday night, I got to give Tommy a shout out over there as he's posting their YouTube channel in the chat. Thank you, Tommy, so much for that. Thank you to all of our channel members. I think we're at about 35 right now.
It's awesome.
We're going to do the Patreon, folks, but you know what? I'm looking at building a website, and that way we can cut out the middleman and we'll have premium memberships. I'm working on that with Tony. Tony's in web development, so we are working on that because I want to give you more content. I know channel members, you guys will get a video this week. I didn't get one out last week, but Tales from the Crypt commentaries are back this Thursday. We'll try to do 1:15 Eastern for a couple episodes of Tales from the Crypt. I know it's been a couple weeks, but my schedule's been very hectic. Mama Wakuian just got out of the hospital, I told you guys. So yeah, that's why we didn't do them the last couple weeks, because I've been all over the place. So, but thank you for the patience, guys. I really do appreciate that. You guys rock. Thank you, everybody watching on X tonight. Thank you. You guys, we had 91 people watching last night's stream for the Place to Be Reviews Monday Nitro, the first full episode. We did a huge WrestleMania breakdown show. We have 5 hours and 40 minutes of WrestleMania coverage live on Sunday night that's available if you want to go and slog through that. It's there. And I got more content. I'm working on that Friday the 13th, 40th part 4 anniversary review for the 40th anniversary of that. Jesus Christ, I'm old.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, I'll stop, guys. A lot more content on the way. Thank you to our wonderful chat this evening, everybody for opining. You guys are the reason that we do this. It's to entertain you and to have collaborations with wonderful creators like Alan and Chris and Trina, again, who I cannot thank enough for being a great co-host. And yeah, that's it. I'll shut up and I'll play the outro. You know how we do. I'm Etep Wakuian from the Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all these. If I don't see you, have a great day. A pleasant tomorrow. We will catch you on the next one. And remember,
It's better to burn out than to fade away.
have a good night, everybody.
Good night.